Hello and welcome to North Star Stamper. I'm Susan Kramer. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Minnesota. Thank you for joining me today. Let me find myself on my computer. And if I seem a little distracted, it's because I am. We have been enjoying the FIFA World Cup in our house, and the U.S. is playing Belgium right now. So if you hear cheers, it's because family is upstairs watching the game, and I told them to cheer for me, or not cheer for me, cheer in my place. So, Tony even asked, are you going to make your video short? I'm like, no, this is going to be a long one. Maybe, not too long. But anyway, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Enough babbling. Welcome to part 2 of Christmas in July. Hello, Kathy. Thanks for joining me. So last week we talked about this beautiful designer series paper. I think it's called A Stitched Season. This is just 3 of the patterns. And we talked about the stitched stocking dies and stamp set. So again, that was last Monday. If you haven't seen that, go check that out. And I'm just going to set that aside. Today we are talking about the Pretty Poinsettia bundle. I'm just going to get busy. I'm just going to get started because I'm so distracted. Okay, so that was the stamp set. Let me get this out of the way. You know where to find me. Hopefully, North Star Stamper, because I live in the North Star State. Okay, so Pretty Poinsettia. You know I love my stamps. But these dies are amazing. I have some samples, and we're going to make a card. So I'm going to let the video catch up with me and make sure these are the right way. Look at the difference in those. Here, maybe if I put it on here, I can hold it up. Hopefully I'm not shaking. I'm not real nervous. I don't know if you can see. I see in my video. Yeah, see the difference. Oh, sorry, let me grab my take your pick. Look at the difference between the veins in this petal and the veins in this petal. It's not the exact same die, but they're going to make a poinsettia. So these are called impressions dies, and I'll make one with you today. But that's the difference between without the impressions plate and with the impressions plate. And this only works with impressions dies. And right now I think we have 3 sets. I can't remember what they all are, but Kathy, if you know, post it in there. I know there's a Phrases and Frames. That was Susan Campfield's $1 Million stamp set. And then this one, and I thought there was one other. Hi, Mom and Dad. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so we'll get to the dies in a minute, but just so you know, and they're not labeled as such on the envelope in the packaging, but they are online. I believe they talk about impressions. So this one, I just used the stamp set. So this is actually bigger. Well, is it? No, I guess it's about the same. And this is one of the new stamp sets that, flip it over, the way they're lined up on the acetate sheet is how they're lined up on the packaging. So you know where your stamps are supposed to go. I no longer have to create a stamp map for my stamps, at least the new ones. Some of the older ones may not be quite like that. I think this needs some bling, and then it'll be done. And I did a little bit of stamping on the inside, but that's mostly with the stamps. And this one I use stamps and dies. So this label in the background was with the Nested Essentials. There are nesting of this hexagon shape that I used on this card, the rounded rectangle, and the banner. So you can see those dies there. And they give you the dies for the centerpiece, and I just used a scrap of gold glimmer paper for that. I'm going to put these up top so you can see them. Then this one, same thing on the inside, kind of simple. And I stamped the background. For my sentiment here, I used the Sweet Words and Labels dies. This is part of the Silly Old Bear suite. But I love these labels. You can layer them from big to little and all things in between. I can't wait to use the acorns in the fall. So anyway, So that's that one, and then another one here, and the directions for this, including the dimensions, and I'll make a video on how I created this, will be part of my Christmas in July event. So if you purchase, I should explain what that means. If you purchase $75 from me during the month of July, I'm going to give you access to a PDF and some videos showcasing all of these cards, and I'll make a video on how I made this card. And teammates, I will put it in our team Facebook group so that you can have access to it. It's a very fun card, very easy to create, but very fun. So that is a bonus for shopping with me in July. So let's get busy. Okay, I have Peaceful Pine. I had to think about it. Peaceful Pine cardstock is going to be our card base. This is just going to be a simple card. Just because. So Peaceful Pine is our card base. And then I have a layer of Barely Blush Designer Series paper. This is one of the pieces in the family Designer Series paper. So you can get this in almost every color we have. They didn't include last year's in colors for whatever reason. They're in front of me. Timid Tiger, Secret Sea, Cloud Cover, piece, Darling Duckling, and Strawberry Slush are not included in these packs, but all the others, the Brights, the Regals, the Subtles, and this is the this year's in colors. So it's small dots and big dots, and then stripes is the other piece. So we're going to use that because I have already die cut my flowers, and we'll just put those together. And if you follow me very much, you know I talk about ways to save time. Those just layer. You could layer them all and make a really full poinsettia. This is what I've been doing, just the 2 small ones and the 2 big ones to make 2 poinsettias. These are the leaves. I don't know how realistic these leaves are for a poinsettia. I think poinsettia leaves are the same as the petals. They're just green, so they did okay. I like things to be more realistic. But the dies include 2. So this is 1 die and this is 1 die. So I just used these 2 dies and die cut a scrap of gold glimmer paper. I think it was from a kit, maybe a paper pumpkin kit, I don't know, but they're big enough that you can put a glue dot behind them. So I'm gonna probably, when I'm watching Jeopardy one day this week, die cut a whole bunch more just so I have these, and then I'll keep these with probably the dies. So those will be ready to go. I'm really liking the gold with this. So this is an Impressions die. Let me set this all aside, and we'll show you how the impression dies work. Again, that's Peaceful Pine and our Impressions die. So the first, at first, I don't think I'll die cut in the video, but I'll get it lined up. My number 2 plate has seen better days. I think it went in crooked and it got damaged a little there, but it works fine. It works fine. So the first time you do it, you just die cut as you would any die. Hopefully you know the sandwich for your machine. With our cut and emboss machine, it's 1, 2, 3, your paper, your die, another number 3, and you run that through. All right, and then what I like to do is, okay, so the Impressions mat is the extra piece you'll need to make the impression dies work the way they're supposed to. I'll just put it that way. And it's a rubbery mat. It's kind of thick. Can you see that? And I think it's rubber or silicone, I think. I don't know. But I am keeping these directions because I only have a couple sets. I only have these 2 sets of dies. And they show you how to do it. So die cut, just like we did up here. And now I'm going to do this. So I need number 1. And then number 2, because we're using a die. And then my paper with the die. So what I like to do is my sandwich. I just die cut this. I flip it over, and I can see that I did die cut that perfectly. So I'm going to slide that onto number 2. And then I hold my finger where the where the die is, and then I just pull this up. And I'm going to put that back into place. Let's pull up my sheet again. So after number 2, the die with your paper and cardstock in there, you use your impressions plate. They call this a plate. It's a mat to me, or I don't know. That's what the black is. And then the number 4, which is usually used for 3D embossing folders. So what I like to do, instead of just setting it down, I like to roll it onto my die with the cardstock in there so that I make sure I don't move the cardstock out of the die. Ask me how I learned this. I made that mistake. So then number 4, just like it says here. I'm going to run this through my machine. Hold this tight. Kathy, do you have any of the impressions dies? Kathy is on my team and has lots of things. Hello, Alma. Thank you for joining me. Oh, Kathy says, I'm afraid that I don't know about the impressions dies. Well, good. I like when I get to teach people things. Okay, so I took the 4 plate off. I'm going to peel this back. A lot of times the cardstock adheres to this or just kind of sticks to it. Look at all the paper fuzz I'm getting on the mat. And I just to rinse that, I just take it in the bathroom in the sink to rinse it off. And then we take it out. We'll put it on here. Look at the impressions on there. Alma, I'm not sure when you came in. Kathy responded, no, I haven't bought any of them yet. Oh, good. She says, hoping to soon. So there's the difference. Let me make sure that's right way. There's the difference between using the impressions plate and not. The impressions plate is only $11, so it's not a big investment. Obviously, the dies are much more, and they're always coming out with more dies that are the impressions. I'm really hoping for a Christmas tree that's like this with lots of details. We had a die set, Christmas tree die set recently that had all kinds of fun swirls and snowflakes and it was very detailed dies, and they didn't last very long. Okay, so I'm going to put this in my folder so I don't lose it. All right, let's put our card together. I thought we would just stamp a sentiment on the bottom. This one. That while I do this, I don't need to walk you through stamping and all that. I will do this one though. Having my grid paper here, you could just use notebook paper. I like to make sure this is straight and it's sticking to my finger. Oh. There. It's straight because I want my sentiment straight. And I'm using Peaceful Pine. That impressions mat, or plate as they call it, can be used with regular dies if you want to emboss them. I think I will do that. No, I already have recorded this Friday's Fast or Frugal video. But next Friday, I will show you how I do that. I don't think I've done that yet. I'll have to look. If I have done it, I'll link it in the video. If I haven't, it'll be next week's video. All right, so let's get an idea where we're going to put this. And then we're going to put our flowers here. I am just going to put this near the bottom. Ink, ink, ink. Ink, ink, ink. And nice and straight. Hold it for a second. It's not perfect. It looks like it was hand stamped, but that's okay because it was. Now, do we want to do any more stamping on the outside? I thought this is barely blush. Did I tell you that? I don't know if I did. We could do one or... Ooh, let's do that. What I've been liking what I did on this one, to create this background, I put these two evergreen stamps. I'll show you what they look like here. These two stamps on one block, and then I just stamped around. I think I am going to... I don't want to mess up my pretty grid paper, so we're going to stamp on here with this evergreen. We're going to stamp off on here just so it's lighter, but it's still the peaceful pine, because peaceful pine I used on my poinsettia. Kind of funny, I know. Oops. So stamp off, and then we'll stamp on. That's funny paper. Let's see if I can find some regular cardstock. There we go. There's regular cardstock. Maybe this will take an even bit off. Oh. I just kind of want this in the background. I think that'll work. Yep. Just because I like to stamp, and I wanted a little something extra. Some gold ribbon or twine would be really pretty on this card. I don't think we have anything current, so I'd have to use retired. And I don't like to do that in my videos. So this is a brand new glue. I just opened it about 10 minutes ago, and you can see it's already starting to drip. So that's why I started in the middle of my card, and I'm barely squeezing it to get that out. Let's spread that around a little bit. Make sure this is going to be the right way. And then, oops, too many things. Let's get that aside. All right, glue dots. And I have been using up glue dots from kits. They always give you so much adhesive in the kits, both paper pumpkin and regular kits. And where did my... There it is. Okay. I'm going to use larger glue dots on the leaves because they're embossed so thoroughly. I want to make sure they're going to stay down. Liquid glue would work too because it's a bigger die. I think maybe just one. Oh, I meant to do something. I even have it here. Shimmer brush. It's very much like our Wink of Stella, and I thought I had one out. Very much like our Wink of Stella that I use on... I used Wink of Stella on these leaves, and it's a little yellow. And on this one, I used the Barely Blush Shimmer Brush, just to add a little color. I meant to add this to the leaves before I adhered it, but that's right, this should work. Oh, sorry for the glare. So I'm just going to go up the middle, just to add some shimmer. I hear Tony talking, but Tony has his voice back after his thyroid surgery, so I hear him a lot these days. Just adding some interest there with our Peaceful Pine Shimmer Brush. All right, where was I? This here, I think that's going to be too much. Do you think that's too much for a poinsettia? It just I mean, they are that full. I think I like this better. I'm going to do one here, and then like I did on one of the other cards, I think I'll put this on the inside of my card. So I'm going to do that. Well, you know what? I have this out. Let's add some shimmer to here. So this is Barely Blush cardstock and Barely Blush shimmer pen. Oh, that's so pretty. I'm anxious to make some more colors of poinsettias, so I googled I'm going to squeeze over my hand in case it drips. All right, that's going to be a lot. So I'm going to go very light. So I was Googling poinsettias and looking at images. And I remember seeing blue poinsettias recently, but I guess those are probably artificially colored. Same with the purple, but I think I will make some purple and bright pink, like melon mambo poinsettias, just for fun. And all those Christmas things that I'm making with both this Pretty Poinsettia and the stitched sweet will be part of my event that you'll get access to by ordering this month. There. Oh, cute, cute, cute. And then add those gold centers. So glue dots. All right. Knowing that another piece is going on top of this, I am going to put 2 glue dots. And we'll put it up a little ways. And then these, I am going to use the smaller ones. And put it on the petals. Put a couple on the petals just to make sure this set of petals stays on my card. One more. There's that. And then these that I had pre-die cut. This is a great use of those scraps of foil paper or glimmer paper. If you have the metallic, we had, oh, I forget what they were called. I have them on the other side of the room. It was in a squirter bottle, not a squirter bottle. They were liquid, like shimmer. You could die cut these and use the shimmer on top of that. I had been using 2 of these because there's a small one and a large one there on them together, but I think I kind of like just the one. Okay, and then on the inside, I don't think I have a piece of paper here yet. Nope. So do you watch my fast or frugal videos on YouTube? This is one of the my frugal ideas. This piece is not 4 by 5 1/4, which is typical for a layer. This is 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, and it just shows a little more of your cardstock, which I don't mind, because in Christmas cards we send a newsletter with our Christmas cards, so we tend to just write Merry Christmas in our names. Let's do some more stamping because I can, and I thought of it. I don't have leaves to go here. Just my poinsettia. Have you started putting things inside your cards and stamping on your envelopes? All right, so that's a big one for their big glue dot. But our center there will cover some of it up. All right, I have to make sure, oops, sorry, that was out of view. I have to make sure my petals don't go beyond my fold line there. So that was the only thing. And pick that up. And center that. And there's probably enough glue there, but I'm going to use a small glue dot. If you only have large glue dots, you can roll it between your thumb and forefinger to make them smaller. Actually, I'm going to do that with this. So get rid of this liner, or just pick up a glue dot if they're on a roll. And I think that's too big, so I'm just going to roll it. And now there's like a little tube of glue. I'm sure you've seen me do this before. And then it'll give it a little dimension too, which will be fine. So there's our glue on our center. And push it down. And it's not sticky at all. So there's our card. Oh, it's so pretty. And those dots in the back are very subtle. And I like the stamping, the stamped off around it. I really like this card. Oh, I have some fun things to put on here. These are adhesive-backed metallic gems, and they are still current. These have been around for a very long time, so I'm waiting for them to retire them, but they haven't yet. So there's silver, copper, and gold. I'm just going to use some of the gold ones. Leave that there. I think these are gold. Yeah. And we'll put them around our flower. 1, 2, 3. Wonder if I should have done 2 since there's gold there. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what I have for you today. If I have a chance to get more Christmas products from my team leader, I'll have another video. I think she had Festive Cheer as another Stamp It Up and die bundle that's available that I did not purchase. But here is Pretty Poinsettia. And it is so pretty. A little putsy with all these die cuts, but I just had a video on my computer, on my computer while I die cut all of the white ones. And there is Pretty Poinsettia. The dies and the stamps. I really like the stamps too. It'll be fun to do some ink techniques with the poinsettia, like inking it in a lighter color and then using a dauber to add a little bit of other color to it. So those kinds of things. Thank you for joining me. Let's see if we have any comments or questions. Kathy says, I love to decorate the inside of my cards. I like to emboss about 1/2 inch on the left side of the inside mat. Takes it up a notch. So you're talking about here. You emboss the edge here. That's awesome, Kathy. I will have to do that. And with a smaller layer like this, you could do that in a mini machine. If you make this just a little bit smaller, make it 3 1/4, it'll go through a mini machine. Oh, but then you'd have a hole. I don't know. We could figure that out. Thank you for joining me today, and I'm off to watch the rest of a soccer game. I haven't heard any cheering up there, so I imagine we're still losing, but that's right. We'll go cheer them on. They're waiting for me to be there so they can score, right? Thank you for joining me. Happy stamping, and happy Christmas in July. It's not too early to start these. I think these are beautiful. And not hard. That wasn't hard. Just have to have the right tools. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. I take requests. If there's a technique you want to learn, let me know. Bye.